We are back with Steve Randall, business person, infamous musician, and now author, newly acclaimed author. So we're going to talk to Steve. We've talked a little bit about his book before, but we're also going to talk about learning to live life beyond family members' struggles and tragedies. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so as we spoke about earlier, I off camera, I one of the biggest things that I've learned. I mean, I've learned so much, and continue to, and hopefully always will. But one of the biggest things I've learned is that you can live a happy, productive life despite having unimaginable tragedy happen. Till I did years of therapy and a lot of my own personal study and the work. And that, I didn't work at a therapist's office one day and something had fixed. Well, I had new distinctions to work on, new clarity. And once I really, and it took probably a couple of years, once it really, that became really ingrained in me as a belief system, I realized like the two can live side by side. There's no perfect life. Bad things happen to good people. But there's still a choice after. Now, I felt guilty about that for a long time. Very guilty of that. I couldn't go out and have dinner with friends. It happened to me on more than one occasion where I'd be right in the middle of dinner and have to excuse myself and leave. I just got so guilty, sad, and a range of emotions because I was having a good time. How dare you go out and have a good time? Because in that moment, I was having a nice time. Mm-hmm. But I get really overwhelmed. There's no part of that. Just went over. I'm not feeling well. And just brushed it off like that. Because I hadn't really accepted that distinction yet that you're allowed to have a life despite a horrible thing happening. And the other part that helped me accept that as more of a new belief system was that knowing that you're not trying to get over it, that you're learning to live with it was a massive change for me. It's like, oh, I'm not running around and saying, I got to put this away in a box, this experience, put on a shelf that's put away, stored away, done now. Now I'm back to happy Steve. No. That's always with me. That'll always be with me. Zach will always be with me. And there's be sad times of that. There's some days I'll say more hours. It's not, in getting at the point, it's more like I could have just a few minutes of just so really sad, and I just really miss them, and I don't like living like without them. Those are facts. But the next hour I could be doing something really fun with friends or something, right? And learning, and it's always an ongoing learning, as I say, but learning that the two can exist simultaneously was a big difference for me. That it's okay. Again, going back to the therapist, who I give lots of credit to, he said to me one time, he said, Steve, why don't you just call it what it is? You're sad. Because apparently I would never use that word. He said, you're sad. It's okay to be sad sometimes. You had a horrible event happen, and that event will never go away. It will always be a horrible event. And you can be sad about it. But actually accepting the fact you can be sad about it sometimes helps you realize we can have a happy life. Now, what was Zach want? Would Zach really want his dad to be sad all the time? I really don't. I knew him too well. No way. He most of his life he was a very happy, fun guy. And so an expression I heard a few times lately, and people have said it to me, a very kind person wrote, well, I got a book of messages from people. It's one of the most kindest gifts I've ever been given. But they're all words of encouragement after he passed. And one of them, and I still have the book, I still review it sometimes. I'm getting tougher moments. And I don't know if someone gets credit for coming up with this line or not. I don't know, but I love it. And it says, now you can go make them, now you can honor Zach's life by making the most of your life. Mm. And I think he'd want that. So when I'm sad, it's more not one time. It was because I felt I was doing him wrong by moving on, to say it. Moving, I might need the right phrase, but trying to move forward, right? And rebuild your life. But it's more so now, it's like, when I'm sad now, it's because sometimes I'm lonely of that void that's, missing a child, or I just miss them, just go and sad he's not around, and sad that my only child. So, you think about grandkids, or you think seeing him meet his significant other, and, and all those fun stuff, who that brings up. All those things you see people go through normally in a normal course of life events. And, I'm sad sometimes that those won't be, these are certain joys that I won't get to experience. However, I have to realize that there are other joys I can get to experience too. And, might be different than maybe the norm. And that's okay. So that's been the huge learning curve. But again, in writing the book, that's another. I could come up with 10 goals of the book, I suppose, but that would be another one. That there is a life beyond worst case scenarios, and you can still choose to build and rebuild a happy life beyond a non-traditional tragedy.
Absolutely. So, Steve, we talked a little bit off camera about the power of therapy, the power of getting to talk to people outside our fantastic family and friends. Just being able to have a sounding board and someone to, confide in, around, our struggles and, all these things that happen when tragedy strikes. Any thoughts on that piece of it? I know you have lots of thoughts on that piece of it, but what that looks like, the positive outcome, shall we say, of that piece.
Every person in every event in life can teach you something. Everyone's a teacher. Everything's a teacher. If you frame it in your mind like that, you won't mind if every now and then you bump into an idiot and you're just having a dumb conversation. Guess what? Maybe you can learn what not to do or what not to say. Right? So I think if you frame it that way, and even comes to your point of like a tragic, terrible event, like how many times in my meditation and prayers did I sit down and say, God, what do I do now? But I was asking the question, like, actually, what I've been doing the same thing my whole life, and now overnight, everything is different. We're not built for such abrupt change. And I don't know, I could know what to do anymore. What do I do now? And thankfully those paths came clearer in time. And they're still unfolding, but they're certainly clear in time. So I think if you can accept that, not right away, but in time, that everything in life comes to you for a reason, and not to be all airy-fairy about it, but I believe that. And even if you don't believe that, I would say try to find the reason in it. The reasons you'll find probably won't be what you thought they would be, or certainly early on what they should be, because there's no good reason to lose a child. No good reason. Okay, so then when it comes to, like, you can't rationalize it. That ain't right. That's it. That just ain't right. So in time, you got to go like, okay, Zach's journey was what it was. It might have been preordained ever. Maybe it was only ever meant to be here for 26 years. Maybe that was it. And maybe it was sent to make me a better person. Maybe it was sent to give me a lot of joy in my life. He certainly did that. Maybe it was sent so he could teach me how to help others. So, again, someone said to me, maybe you were chosen for this path. And I said, well, I sure wish I wasn't. But there it is. So still I have the choice. I have the choice. Do I accept this the path I'm on, and what can I do with that? Or I can stay bitter. I can mad at the world and all the powers that be and the powers we don't understand. I can do that too. But I don't see the point in that anymore. So we'll do our best we can to help others. And I know that'll honor his life. Yeah. You know, he had to come to this world for a shorter time than we wished, but he did an amazing thing for what he did in his own life, but what he's done beyond, you know, the impact. It's like you spoke earlier, like how you stopped to, you got some spare change to hand out, you make sure you do it now. But how many people do that? But I don't even know. I had a message from a lady not so long ago. Said I never go to this local grocery store. I don't know what town it was in, but it's somewhere in Newfoundland. And she said, I never go in the grocery store every morning, but I make sure I bring spare change. I have it there in the car. So I never did that before. And there you go. And who knows what seeds are getting sown into that person, or the same person who walked past them once a week or what have you, to now never want to do something, give them a moment, right? So these are the butterfly effect things that it's hard to quantify, but it's certainly, his life had value. It had a lot of meaning, and it's still reaching a lot of people. If he didn't pass away, I couldn't have wrote a book. Now, would I take back the book and have him back? Of course I would. But again, I didn't get to choose that. So that is the choice put in front of me, and that's what I chose to do with it. And again, if we can, who knows, in time, I think we'll probably help more people we'll ever know about, and I'm okay with that. And I get a lot of great, kind, positive feedback that helps keep me going some days. I'm like, all right, we're doing some good. You know, so let's keep on that. And so this is how we learn. I don't think we learn a lot in good times. I think we learn a lot in bad times. And I've learned a lot, shared a lot, and now continue to learn from others, because their feedback teaches me things, right? Hearing your story teaches me something. I've been in business relationships where I learn what I'm not to do, right? So again, if you're willing to look at everyone and every event as a teacher, I think it gives you a chance to make good things out of bad things. Again, I do keep saying this, I know, but it doesn't diminish the bad thing. It doesn't not respect the terrible event. You're not, again, that was a distinction I had to make, because I was doing some good or trying to do some good, or trying to go and have a good, happy, healthy life and good relationships with people and all those important things. It didn't mean I was shutting off or ignoring the event. The event will travel with me the rest of my days. I know. It's learning to live without.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of folks that might listen to this podcast or read your book, that's a big distinction. It's living those two things simultaneously, because you can't take back a death. You can't take back, the pain. You'll always have that. But how do you, go through that? And resilience. I think that's a word I'd use in this moment, Steve, like resilience. And it's one of those of, how do we be resilient in the worst of times, and how do we come out, on the other end? Because to me, that's what, your journey, seeing some of this unfold, has looked like, of one of resilience. How do you take something that's raw and awful and something no one should ever have to go through, and create a positive impact of planting seeds like you are? So thank you for doing that from the bottom of my heart, and through all of those folks that are going to have the opportunity to read your book, to reach out and see the fantastic impact that you're having on all of us. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. And I really appreciate it. That word resilience is, it's a great way to look at things, because I think we all need to build that. I think we all need to get better at that. We live in a world where I fear sometimes we don't teach people resilience, and we've seen things too, that bad things will happen to good people. Not everyone's going to agree. Not every environment's going to accept you. It's not. I mean, you know this. I mean, it's just, but that's resilience. It's like, how do I move forward regardless of the bad day? And what a life skill. What a life skill. That, again, normally only gets taught to us in the hard times.
Yeah.
So if we can allow ourselves to be taught in the hard times and say, hey, this has value too. It's lousy. Like, it feels horrible. I don't like it in the moment. But boy, am I a better person for this? Am I a stronger person for this? And look how far I've come. I mean, you're all in your own journey. You, as you said off camera, said this podcast is about you. But even in your journey, like, you had to learn that, not everything's going to be your cup of tea all the time. Not everyone's going to take you in, and not everyone's going to cheer you in. A lot will, not in your way. And things can go wrong for no good reason. But despite all that, you have a choice. You chose to have a voice through all these great people you do, and all the great work you do through your podcast and your other work. And you chose to, like, I can go and do my part to make things a little bit better. And that's resilience. You really, and as we sit and talk to more people through that journey, we all can learn something. Again, sometimes even what you have to do. That's important to them too. So good on you for doing what you do as well. It's not to be taken lightly, and it should be acknowledged. But you're an example of resilience.
Thank you. I appreciate that greatly. So if folks want to reach out and connect in with you and your fabulous self and your amazing book, how can they do so?
My website's always the best place, StephenLRandall.com. That's Stephen with a PH. There, you all the choices are there. If you want to buy anything, you can just join the mailing list. We do a letter with an email every Tuesday morning. So it's nothing to join. We always try to have a little piece of value. And funny, this spoiler alert, this Tuesday morning, I actually have a blog written, and they're always brief, just a little point in the thoughts. And it's live, love, and loss. And it's I think it's a good little read. So we do things like that. We send every Tuesday. So people go to the website and just jump on the mailing list. And you don't need to buy anything. But if you're interested, and I appreciate the support, if you're interested in buying the book, you can look at the different versions that are available there. And if you want to go on Amazon, you can do that. Well, my website has everything. It's pretty straightforward. You go there, you can find anything you'd like to know about. Sure. Amazing.
Thanks so much, Steve, for joining us. And you certainly are being the change. And today I'm so happy that we got to amplify your voice and the voice of Zach's. And it's such an important story, I think, for folks to hear. So thanks again for that.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me very much. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.